Precious friends, welcome to a brand new program in the series, The Verdict of Science Creation. Our guest today is Mr. John Mackay.
That's my boomerang too.
Let me finish, because I have the weapon. You have to let me finish. This is a weapon. So, Mr. John Mackay, precious friend, International Director for Creation Research, geologist. Mr. Mackay, that was long. I just want to ask you, is this working?
Well, I've been trying to give it away for years, but it keeps coming back.
Now, dear friends, now I'll try throwing this, and if it doesn't come back, you hear anything of a noise, it was one of the cameramans around, so I better keep it here. John, where does the boomerang come from?
Okay, first clue, it's from a tribe that lost the ability to make bows and arrows. So does that help you?
Lost the ability to make...
Don't they teach you anything in schools here?
Not about boomerangs, we
Not
don't
about
have
boomerangs.
these.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, because they've been found in Poland, but nobody in Poland uses them.
Okay.
But that boomerang comes from a tribe that lost the ability to use bows and arrows.
So you want to say this is vice versa? So there was a tribe using bows and arrows
and they lost
for hunting?
the ability. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. This should be a primitive tool.
But
from
it's not
before
primitive.
Bow and arrows. This is what
they
I've
used
been
to
taught.
have lots more weapons, and they lost the ability. In fact, it's basically the only tribes on the planet that no longer use bows and arrows. Comes from Australia.
Oh, this is not evolution, doesn't...
No, it's the opposite. You see, the real history of technology is, again, remember that word we coined a few programs ago? Devolution. And you see this even in technology.
Okay.
Okay. The word itself is from the Turawal tribe of Aboriginal natives in Australia.
Okay.
So that's Turawal is a Aboriginal language as well, and boomerang is one word from them.
Okay.
Not all Australian Aborigines had boomerangs,
okay,
but no Australian Aborigines had the bow and arrow.
Good.
Despite the fact that we know they came from India,
okay,
they lost the ability to make bows and arrows, and they were left using boomerangs. By the way, please don't throw it like that. You have to throw it at about 30 degrees.
30 degrees?
Yes, otherwise it will hit the ground or it'll go too high and it won't come back.
Okay.
And you don't want to throw it on a windy day.
No.
Because otherwise it'll hit someone way back there, right? And thirdly, you do need to practice a bit. That's the reason I haven't let you throw it.
Listen, if you think that this man, after all these zillions of programs, ever let me get out of the car and use that stuff, you're wrong. He never did.
But the reason is simple. You see, if you don't practice, you'll smash the next door neighbour's window, and we can't afford that on the budget for this program.
Okay.
So I won't let you loose with one of
Thank
these
you.
for a while. But you know what makes it work? I mean, have a good look.
Okay. I know.
I mean,
a dinosaur on it. This,
no, it's got nothing to do with the dinosaur.
Nope. And, well, it has an angle, one angle at least.
Well, what's it actually made of, Romulus?
I guess of wood.
It's made of wood, but you see, if you were the maker of the boomerang, you could have turned the wood into a toy train, correct?
Yeah.
Or a walking stick.
Yeah.
So it can't be the wood that makes it work.
No.
Now, we did an in-depth program on the design in the boomerangs, but let's sort of take it in a different direction.
Yes.
Let's imagine you start with a big tree.
Yep.
And you can afford to waste most of the tree till finally the tree turns into a boomerang. Is the boomerang heavier than the tree, or is the tree heavier than the boomerang?
Well, the tree heavier than the boomerang.
So you've taken things away from the tree.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're left with a boomerang.
Yes.
You've made of wood.
Yep.
Okay, and you throw the boomerang, it comes back. Now why? I mean, what is it about the boomerang that makes it come back?
Well, it should have some qualities, some built-in something.
Okay, now where did the built-in bits come from? Because they don't come from the wood, because you could have made that the toy train, remember?
Yep.
Okay, now what was it that you've actually added? I mean, you might know the right measurements or anything, but what is it that you can see about that boomerang that you know does not come from the wood?
Well, the information in it and so on.
Okay, the information.
Yeah.
But you just told me you made the wood lighter than it used to be.
Okay.
So you've actually taken weight away from it, but in doing so, give it to me now. Yep. You see, it's mine anyway. And you've made it this shape, right?
Yep.
You didn't make it into a square.
Nope.
Okay, so you've chosen the shape.
Yeah.
The shape was first of all in your head.
Yep.
So you, the creator, have added this information to the wood that it will be in this shape. And then you've plane the edges so that they will be round on this side but flat on that side. And then you've got this nice little bevel there. Now, none of these are things that the wood does by itself. But here's the challenge question that we haven't dealt with before. How much does the information that you've had in your head, and you've cut the wood down till it resembles this, how much did you actually add? I mean, if you wanted to weigh the information, how much did it weigh?
But it can be weighted, I mean.
It can't be weighed?
No.
Are you telling me it has no weight?
Well, I mean, not like in kilograms.
You see, the reason I'm
pounds.
doing this is that many scientists say, but how could you believe the universe could be made from nothing? But the reality is you've just taken wood that used to weigh X kilograms.
Yes.
It now weighs 25 grams.
Yeah.
And you've added things to that wood that weigh how much?
Well, nothing.
Nothing. That's right. So you've taken nothing and you've made it into something.
Listen, the reason I'm so puzzled is that this is the very first time that we're talking on a very interesting subject. I mean, how much weighs nothing that actually makes a whole lot of a lot.
Okay, now a more embarrassing question. Where was this something that weighs nothing before you added it to the boomerang?
In my head.
Ah, so there's nothing in your head. Well, we don't want to reach that conclusion, do we?
No,
right? But the reality is, we know you've added it because, you know, if you were the Aboriginal Turawal tribe where the word came from, you had the design in your head because wood doesn't do boomerangs all by itself.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, let's demonstrate this. What have I got here?
My laptop? No, it's his.
No, it's my laptop. Okay, we shall open it.
Yes.
Now, in opening it, how much weight did I add to it? I mean,
you added nothing. Yeah.
I added nothing to it.
Okay.
Right. We bought this and we installed the Windows program, etc.
Yeah.
I've just pressed the on button. Oh, there's a sign's come up there, right?
Yeah.
Now we know it's got a memory built in.
Yes.
Because if it's got no memory, how well does it work?
It won't work.
It won't work.
Yep.
So when you are creating something like this, you actually have to put information in it first in order for the thing. Oh, there's a screen come up and it's got my name on it. It says press the little button. So I shall do that. There it is. And now I'm going to launch the Outlook program here.
Okay.
Now, how much weight have I added to this machine?
Not that I can see anything.
Nothing at all, right? I mean, I've pressed it here and I've pressed it there. Now the program's come up. I'm going to press for a new screen to pop up here so I can type something in here. Let's see, make sure it comes up. Look at that. There's a screen. You agree? That's a blank screen.
Yeah.
There's nothing on it.
I mean, just the line program,
I'm ready to send an email.
Okay.
All right, now I shall type in some information. Now, I'm not the world's best typist. I discovered the truth about secretaries. You know the old secretary who said, I can think or I can type, but I can't do both at the same time? I'm like that. Okay, so I'm going to press the shift key so I get a capital I. That was very clever of me, wasn't it? Right, very good. Now I've got the word in. Now I'm going to press the. Look, I'm speeding up here. Okay. Now I have the words in the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, now that wasn't there. You'd agree? I mean, look, there it is.
Yes.
It's there? Okay, it wasn't there when you first looked.
No.
Isn't that magical?
Well, it looks like magical.
Question. If you were to weigh this computer now, how much would it weigh compared to beforehand?
Nothing. No more.
No more, that's right. And yet I've just created some words. Where were those words beforehand?
In his head.
In my head, because you see they're not in Hungarian. I would have no idea what the program for Hungarian was. In fact, if I had a Hungarian program installed on my computer and I typed that in, it wouldn't make any sense of it whatsoever. So what you've got is here, I've got meaning in my head and I'm transferring it to this object. I can now communicate to you, correct?
Good. Yep.
But it weighs nothing. I mean, see this boomerang here? Let's imagine I throw it. But of course, I want it to come back, but you're in the road.
Okay.
So first of all, it hits you.
Yeah.
Okay, do you realize that the boomerang still weighs the same amount?
Yes.
But I've just communicated the fact that I don't like you. Right? How much did the communication weigh?
The communication itself?
Yeah.
But that much is a boomerang.
No, you see, the boomerang still weighs exactly the same, and you've got a lump on your head. Now it's interesting, isn't it?
Oh,
because you see, when people say, how could the biblical account of creation be true when, I mean, the old theologians invented a phrase ex nihilo, which means what?
Out of nothing.
Out of nothing. Because the biblical picture is one moment there was not even nothing, and the next moment you've got a universe. And they say such a thing is impossible. But in reality, we do this sort of thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we can make it go away. Would you like to see me make it go away?
Yeah.
I've got a little switch here that says backspace, and if I put the cursor in the right place, there, look at that. How much information is there now?
None. Gone.
It's gone. How much less does it weigh?
No more, no
No more
less.
at all. So, okay, now would you pick up that book that's right beside there?
Okay.
Okay, now what's the title of that book?
Thousands,
Okay,
not
now
billions.
who's the author?
Dr. Don DeYoung.
Okay, now that book is made of?
Paper.
And the paper comes from wood,
Yeah.
but when you throw that, it doesn't come back.
Nope.
Ah, so again, it's the choice of the person who is doing the design as to whether they turn the wood into a book
boomerang
or the
or-
wood
yeah,
into a boomerang.
boomerang,
But
yeah.
both of them can communicate. And of course, in that case, they've taken print, which is made out of ink, and they've stamped the information in there.
Exactly.
Oh, but they could have sold you a page, a book full of blank pages, couldn't they?
Well, they could have tried.
They could have tried,
Yeah,
right.
at
But
least.
you would go to a bookshop, or you'd go to our web shop on creationresearch.net, and you could buy one of those, correct?
Okay, yes.
Why would you even bother paying for it?
Well, I'm not paying for the book, but I'm paying for the things in it, for the information
You're
in it.
paying for the information, because
Yeah.
the paper really doesn't cost much, does it?
Yeah, and I
Right.
don't care of the paper,
The
rather.
paper, you don't read the paper, you read the black bits, the
Exactly.
print that's
Yep.
in there. And because that's come out of Mr. DeYoung's or Dr. DeYoung's head, and he's communicated in there, he's taken something which weighs nothing. I mean, do you think his brain weighs any less now that the information's in the book?
Nope.
No. In fact, you will discover that you have just paid something for what actually weighs nothing. Isn't this a mysterious subject?
It's getting complicated.
But the reality is you paid, say, 50 euros for this book. So you paid the worth of the work that the man's creativity actually created. This is a creation, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, this is a creation.
Yes.
And this computer's a creation.
Yes.
None of them happen by themselves.
Nope.
So when people have trouble with the whole subject of creation, it's because they've been deceived. They've been lied to. They've been told creation is a religious subject. And science deals with evolution. But nobody believes boomerangs evolved. Nobody believes computers evolved, because if they did, you may as well hang around and wait for one to turn up, right? And you're not going to do that.
Exactly.
In fact, let's demonstrate this point a little further. You don't mind being embarrassed?
I'm getting used to.
I have, well, what's this?
I have a photo camera.
Do you realise if I showed this to a native in the jungles of South America, he wouldn't have a word for it?
I guess so.
The information's in your head, tied to your brain, which is coming through your eyes, which is seeing this. So brains without a program in them are no use. Now there's a clue about creation. You could not evolve a brain because it wouldn't work.
Exactly.
You have to have an inbuilt memory. Same as the computer has to have an inbuilt memory. Same as the man who designed this had to know exactly what he was programming onto the wood. Do you realise this is a program? It's a program
Yep.
to come
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Don't you wish your dog had a program like that? Right? Or perhaps not, right? Perhaps you want it to keep on going. Okay, I'm going to switch this on. Okay, tell me how much it weighs.
Maybe half a kilogram.
Okay,
sort
keep that
of.
in mind. Well, we
Yeah.
may check you later on. Smile. Are you ready to smile? Okay, now we might get a bit of a flash here. Look at that. Okay, what have we got?
Me. Oh.
Isn't that glorious, right?
Is it what you
Now
have to
this-
watch for half an hour?
There's two of you, right?
Yes.
But one is real and the
Yeah.
other is an image.
Okay.
Okay, how much heavier is the little...
Oh, much. No, it's not heavier at all.
Ah.
There's nothing more.
So
Interesting.
we've added no weight,
Yeah.
but we've got information in here.
Okay.
And well, everyone calls a picture a creation, correct?
Yes.
Oh, now look, do you see that little graph that's just popped up there? See the little graph?
I thought I'm having some trouble.
No, you're not having
half
trouble.
of my head.
That's actually
Okay.
a plot of the information of the different colours that are in there. So there really is information in that picture.
Okay.
Same as there's information in the computer, but as you just said, it weighs absolutely nothing. Now, would you
Yeah.
like to see what we can do with this? You see, me being the owner of this little thing here, I
Yes.
created your picture. Now, I'm going to press a button here, and I'm going to, wait till I just get this
It's gonna get
one
rid of me.
further on. That's exactly what I'm going to try and go and do.
Delete.
Look.
Bang.
Now, wait till we just turn
I
that
just
off there.
don't want to go away.
Yeah, very good.
Precious friends, I just invented the boomerang picture. Take a picture of me, never get rid of me.
Wait till we just go. We're going to erase you. Is that all right, Romulus?
Better never buy such
In
a
fact,
camera for
you've
politicians. You will
obviously pressed
never
the
get rid of
wrong
them.
button there, so we're going to have to cancel that there. Go on one step further. Get rid of that one there.
He works
Press
too much.
that.
I better have a weapon.
Do you see the word that pops up?
Yes.
Erase.
Erase.
Are you ready to disappear?
Be careful.
I'm
Ready?
sorry, Romulus. You've just disappeared.
I'm just gone.
It says no image.
No image.
Ah, do you realize what that means? The creator of the image can remove it anytime he likes. Now, of course, that reminds you of something in the Bible, doesn't it?
Of grace.
Because God said man was made in his image.
Exactly.
So we shouldn't be surprised if we can create. Not even if we can create things out of nothing. Because in this picture here, your image was nothing. There's no weight to it, and yet I could show you on a screen anywhere I like. I'm going to turn this off now and get one last illustration out of here. What's this?
A purse.
Ah, it used to be a cow. Would you believe that? Right? This used to be a cow, and the cow ceased having any use for its leather, so we borrowed it.
Okay.
Now, I have brought in here some interesting assortment of notes.
Yes.
And again, we used this illustration last year, but we're going to take it in a different direction. What's that?
Well, a precious queen of... queen.
Yeah, okay,
well,
but
this
what
is
is it?
Okay, this is a banknote. It's
A
about money.
banknote from what country?
From, it should $5. Australia.
Australia. Are you going to come visit Australia? That could be used in Australia.
He said it. Yes.
Ah, all right. Now here's another one.
Can I keep it for when I go to Australia? I have to give it back. Okay, this
What's
is
that one?
$5 Canada.
What about that one?
Okay, this is $5 Singapore.
What about that one?
This is Abe Lincoln, $5 USA.
Which one would you rather have?
All of them.
Greed, my
Greed,
friend. Now,
yes.
in practice, if you were going to the money changers
Yes.
here in this country, which one would you rather have to give to them?
Well, I guess rather this one, the
Why?
US dollar. Well, it's worth more.
Ah, but the funny thing is, you see, they're all the same size. They're all made of paper, which
Yes.
comes from wood, and
Yeah.
yet that comes from wood too. So what is it that makes this valuable? You see, the original bits of paper, how much were they worth?
Nothing.
Nothing. So that's got a 5 on it.
Yeah.
This has got a 5 on
Yeah.
it. That's got a 5 on it.
Yeah.
So they basically got the same information on it.
Yeah.
Well, where's the value coming from?
Well, it's just the value given to the pieces of paper and plastic by those who issued them.
Okay, now stop a moment. We've already spent half the program demonstrating that the information weighs how much?
Nothing.
Nothing. So by adding nothing to a piece of paper, you're telling me that one is worth more than this one.
Yes.
Isn't that an interesting mystery? It's pretty... oh, by the way, these are created objects, correct?
Yes.
And they've been created from paper which for all practical purposes is worth how much? I mean, if I gave you a piece of paper that had nothing on it and you walked up to the money exchange and says, here, change this into whatever.
Yeah.
What would they do?
We'll call the police.
That's right.
Maybe if I go with this
your
one, they're
bit of
gonna
paper in their eyes would be
Yeah.
worth?
Yeah.
What would it be worth?
Well, nothing.
Nothing. But the minute you put a funny little 5 with the American green ink,
Yeah.
all of a sudden they will give you lots of money for it. Now, isn't this an interesting
Yeah.
mystery?
Yes, it
But
is.
every one of these things is a creation.
Yeah.
Now, it's easy to prove. Let's imagine you were doing this. I mean, I'll get you a good example out of my ex-cow that's here. And I want you to think what would happen if you went up to the money changes with that. What's the number on that one?
1 million.
1 million American dollars?
Yes.
Which one would you rather have now?
Well, if this would be true, well, I mean, better this one.
But it's the same size.
Yes.
It weighs the same amount.
Yes.
Okay, now, I run those off on our photocopier.
Okay.
Now, let's imagine I mean, they're fake. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it, right? And if you
Yeah.
read the fine print, it
Yeah.
tells you they're
Yeah,
fake.
yeah, yeah.
But if I was in court being charged
Yeah.
with, what's the name of that crime where you make your own money? Counterfeiting?
Counterfeiting, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm on charge for counterfeiting, and the judge says, you have been running off $1 million bills in your basement, and you look so naive and say, but Your Honour, this couldn't possibly be true. I just went down one stairs one day, and the money was making itself. Now, do you think the judge would believe me?
Nope.
Not only would he put me in prison, he'd put me in one of those prisons where there are padded walls. Because if money just happens, but it's good, isn't it, hey?
Well, it looks good.
You don't want one of those? But yet,
No,
look,
thank
I
you.
pricked up one of these. It's got $1 million on it as well. Now, what's the difference?
Well, this is a real one.
Yeah, but somebody printed it, and I printed that. Why can't I print one of those?
If I do look confused, because I am confused.
You am confused?
Yeah.
Okay, but you see, both of these were printed by people, correct?
Yes, exactly.
So the true one and the false one are both creations.
Yes.
What is it that makes that million worth something and this million worth 20 years in prison?
Well, probably the credentials of the person who issued
the authority of the person who issued it.
Okay.
So that person who lives and works in the government mint
Okay.
has been authorised by who's ever in power.
Yeah.
So when they print $1 million, it's worth something.
Okay.
When I print $1 million, it cost me 20 years in jail.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got to do with the authority of the Creator. Okay, one last example and you really will get it. Now, what's this one? I need that back, by the way. That's real money.
Unbelievable. This is a 10,000 lei bill.
But is it still current?
As much as I'm concerned, not.
Okay, you see, when I first came to this country, just shortly after communism collapsed, I picked up some of those. They gave me millions of them for $100 American, right? And
Yes.
they didn't want them back. Then I took some home to show my children because they'd never seen such big numbers on money before. Of course, it was really only worth about 30 American
Yeah,
cents.
I know.
But then I thought, well, I'll come back again and I'll take some of these back.
Okay.
When I got back here, they were worth nothing. They gave me those instead. Now, haven't they got the same number on them?
Yes.
But why was this one now worth nothing and this one was worth 30 American
Because
cents?
the authority decided it that way.
Okay, but you see, originally this was worth nothing anyway. Wasn't it just a bit of paper? And then the authority added value to it.
Yes.
And then the authority took the value away. So nothing could become something, and something could become nothing based on the word of the Creator. Now, can you see the picture?
Yes, I do.
You see, the biblical picture says, in the beginning was the
Word.
In fact, you've got a Bible there. Would
Yeah.
you like to read us those
Yeah.
first three verses out of John's Gospel?
This is the only thing I prepared in advance for this program. This man amazes me. He keeps me somewhere at arm's length just to bring me closer to God ever. It just amazes me. Thank you so much for watching with us these programs, and keep praying and supporting this ministry. It has been a blessing for me, who am listening to this man for over 10 years. May God bless you, Mr. John. Okay, let's
Read us
continue.
verses 1, 2, and 3 of John's Gospel.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made.
so that when God spoke,
Yep.
he added information to nothing,
Yes.
right? And the nothing became something.
Something, yeah.
And doesn't the Bible warn you there's a time coming when the same Creator is going to withdraw his authority and the something will be worth?
Nothing.
Nothing. And it's called Judgment Day. And the Bible says it is coming. And look, the reality is, if we can do this on a tiny scale and cancel a 10,000 lei bill and invent a million one that's not even as big and nowhere near as fancy, then do you think God has any trouble doing the same? No, you see, he is the God who could make the universe have value, and the same Creator can remove it as easy as that.
Beautiful. We came almost close to the end of this program. It just comes to my mind an awful picture of a judgment day when the same Lord God Creator who created the universe is going to remove all needed support from people who would not trust him and believe him before their death for salvation. And I also remember of something that the Lord Jesus on the cross said, "Father, forgive them. They do not know what they do." So here we are, millions of people, not even knowing what we do, because we've lost all connection with the God who created us.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing
Foolish things.
Of course, in the third book of Genesis, we read of the old serpent, the devil, who lured Eve, and Adam committing the sin that has marred us ever since. But I just come back to this image that I cherish in my heart, and the words of the Lord begging for forgiveness for me and for John and for all those who trusted their lives upon him, on him. Folks, I just want to encourage you, ponder that, of the day, in the 1 minute we have, on the day when we all have to give an account to God for all we did, the same authority that issued this universe and created us will have to tell, he is mine, me the authority who created him, I am the authority forgiving him for what has been done on the cross of Calvary. And it's interesting how, like with the governor of a bank, the whole world, the whole country is bankrupt, and he come himself, like who issued the whole bunch of money to say, okay, I know you've mistreated my money, you mistreated everything, but I forgive you, and I give you new and better, valuable currencies, new riches, for you people to be able to live. No bank governor or bank director does that, but the governor created the whole universe just did that. 2,000 years ago in Jesus Christ, he came to pay the salvation available to all who would believe. I encourage you to believe. I encourage you to trust your lives in the hands of the Lord Jesus. Mr. Mackay, thank you so much. That has been a thrill to watch you, to hear again. Just begin with the boomerang. We ended with another piece of wood, with the wood of the cross. May the Lord Jesus be praised. And you folks and all of us, all of you watching us today, be careful, watch for the next program. Until that, may the Lord Jesus bless you.